Starting recording.
There we go. Hey, I'm here again with Mark Torgl,
Hey,
uh,
John.
very famously known from Toxic Avenger movies and also from Toxic Tutu. And our official last interview was actually, I think, 8 or 9 years ago, when the Toxic Tutu movie was well. I guess there was a little bit of footage done, but it was kind of just getting on its way.
Yeah, it
And
took 5 years to do, and of course, John Carrots is a major star in that movie as well.
who is that amazing guy? I've heard of him before.
I've
I
heard of
think
him
he's
too.
I think he's a legend in his own mind, outstanding in his field, I think.
Yeah, but he did an amazing performance, whoever he is, wherever he came from.
Nothing as good as yours, though.
He just showed up one day, and we put him in the movie, and he was awesome.
There you go. And a star was born, as they say.
That's right.
But yeah. So that the whole experience was great, and working with you, and of course that was a mockumentary of what had happened to you since the Toxic Avenger movie, and
the almost true story of what became of Melvin the Mop Boy from the Toxic Avenger.
The almost true story. I think it secretly is the true story, I think. Because looking at you, you don't look a day over 85. No, I'm kidding. But no, but since then, I guess we were talking a bit about how, especially since COVID and everything, you've grown that lucky beard, and your career is actually taking off. You've been doing I think you've been doing lots of projects with Sam Balsamo, I believe.
James
That's it. That's right. I'm sorry.
I'm in 3 of his movies that have all been done within the last year. Just I'm in something called Killer Waves 2, which was the first one. I did that in my studio garage, and then I did 2 more at his studio, which were the names of them are I can't think right now.
I do have to apologize for killing his name, because I do know his name is James, but I always want to leave the S out of his name as Balsamo. So I'm focusing on to make sure I say that Sam, and then you mess things up. You know what I mean?
Alien Danger. Alien Danger was the other 2 movies. Alien Danger 1 and Alien Danger 2. And I played different characters in each one.
That is great.
I play a bird in one of them, a pirate bird. And then I play a cyborg bartender in the other one. So besides James Balsamo, I've also been in a movie that we shot in Nebraska, and Lloyd Kaufman is in it. It's called After School Lunch Special Sloppy Seconds. And I get vomited on pretty gruesomely. There seems to be an ongoing theme with the movies that I'm getting put in. I'm either getting shit on or vomited on or whatever other disgusting things can be done to me. I'm not sure why I'm getting these kinds of roles, but hey, you know what? It's my killer beard that's getting them off for me, I believe.
There you go. You might have that written in your description, though.
Oh, maybe. You must abuse me if you put me in your movie.
But you also have a day job where you work for game shows, I believe, don't you?
I work at Entertainment Studios as an editor, and I've been doing that for years. It's what pays the bills. And I've been lucky enough to work throughout the pandemic, working out of my home. It's a clip show, so it doesn't require an audience. It doesn't require a host. Oh, actually, there is a host, but she's shot separately. And this is what I'm working on right now. Is for the Weather Channel. It's called The World's Funniest Weather. And it's just like America's Funniest Home Videos. Byron Allen is the owner of the company, and he bought the Weather Channel. So there's lots of work that we have to do, which is good. Because
where can you see that show?
It's on the Weather Channel.
Well, that makes sense.
And it's also syndicated a bunch of other places. But if you go to the Weather Channel, you'll find it there.
So what other projects might you have in the works? Any new movies that are upcoming that you know of? Anything you can talk about?
The one I'm hoping for is, they're making a Hollywood remake of the Toxic Avenger. Um, Peter Dinklage is going to play Toxic, believe it or not. And I'm thinking that they're going to want, or I've heard from Lloyd that they want to put a bunch of the old cast in as cameos. So I'm waiting for that call. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm looking forward to hearing from them, and I hope I am in that, because that way I could actually get paid for a Toxic Avenger.
Well, I hope that does go through. I know before we had talked about the fact that I guess there was a time when it had been in the works that they thought Arnold might play play Toxie and stuff, and then that fell through.
Yeah, it's gone through a bunch of different progressions, but this one is really happening now because they're actually casting. A friend of mine, they called up to be on the post-production team. So it really, and I know Lloyd has already acted in it. He's done a cameo, so it's actually really happening. It's Legendary Films, and I just hope they're real Toxic Avenger fans or Trauma fans, because then they would absolutely have to put me in it, because it would be stupid of them not to.
That would be great, though. That would be great, and I think it would, for everybody, it would open up and make people want to go back and watch a lot of the older films and some of the newer stuff. And I think business-wise, that's going to be a great move and good for everybody, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, good for Toxic Tutu.
Yeah, good for Toxic Tutu. Great for all the Toxic Avenger movies. Now, which ones of the Toxic Avenger movies are you in? I know there's a couple you're not necessarily in, aren't there?
I'm in the first one, the original. I'm in number 4. I wasn't in 2 or 3, which actually was supposed to just be one movie, and they made it into 2. I had moved to Hollywood. They wanted me to be in this movie. I had moved out of New York, and I said to Lloyd, well, can you give me some, can you pay me something for this? I need, I'm living in Los Angeles. He's like, no, that's not the Troma way. And I said, well, send me the script. And I really didn't like the script very much. And so I passed on it. And Lloyd Kaufman wrote in his book, everything I know about filmmaking I learned from the Toxic Avenger. He said the biggest mistake he made in his film career was not giving Mark Torgl the $50 he asked for to be in Toxic Avenger 2.
Yeah, it was sort of like the Partridge Family with the fake Jan. They had the fake Melvin the Mop Boy in that movie.
Yeah. Two. And I feel really sorry for that kid, because he's forever known as the fake Melvin. But I've also been in some other Troma films since then. I'm in Return to Nukem High Part 2, which I also have a disgusting part in that, where I get raped by a monster. And whenever we're together and shooting something, Lloyd is in Toxic Tutu, so I went ahead and I was in Return to Nukem High, and we just recently acted together in Sloppy Seconds. So, which I think he's a bit of a producer on that as well. So it's enjoyable now to get together with Lloyd and do these little movies. There's another movie that I was in that hasn't come out yet, called Divide and Conquer, and it's by Mercedes the Muse, and she has an association with Troma as well, and I play Norman, a nerdy character, so that's Troma related as well. So there's so much happening that I'm so excited about. And most of it is shot already, so just waiting for it to get finished. The other thing going on for me is, besides my day job, is I've got a couple of conventions coming up. The Midwest Monster Fest in Illinois, and that's in September. That's coming up soon. And then Scare Fest in Kentucky in October, which is a pretty big convention. So I've got a guy representing me now, and I think that's the way to go. I've always done it on my own before, and he's really excited to get me into as many as he can, especially, next year. This year was slow because of the pandemic, and they're just starting to happen again. But he's like, I'm going to get you in everything next year. I was like, well, okay.
Well, I hope I can get down to see you when you're in
I can't do
Kentucky.
every weekend, but what's that?
I'm hoping you get to see you when you're in Kentucky. That'd be great. It'd be great to have you out, more further east. But I know you got to work too. So that's the trouble with work and art. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to just do Saturdays and Sundays. All these conventions are always Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So those two that I mentioned, I will be going on a Friday, and hoping they won't get pissed off at my day job. He also got me signed up for something next year in Bangor, Maine, which I've never been to Maine. I'm kind of looking forward to that as well. That's about as far from Los Angeles as you can get. So, but
hopefully maybe I'll be able to see you at that one too. That would be great.
Yeah, that'll be sometime next year.
That would be great if we could get out to see you at that. Maybe get some people on the East Coast together to see you that haven't seen you for a long time. There's a bunch of us out here I know even that worked on the Toxic Tutu movie that would probably love seeing you in person again. Get out there to see you.
Yeah.
Got to have the Visit Mark Torgl campaign going, sort of like the Free Britney, but free you from California, free him from California.
Well, it may be happening, sooner than later, but it's hard to give up a good paying editing job.
Like I said to you last time I talked, you could possibly take off a day and work from your motel room though if you have your laptop with you. It's easier said than done. I know.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, people think you can do that when you're working from home, but it's not as easy because you don't have everything accessible. So that is difficult.
Yeah, it's a special editing program that does not. Actually, I don't even have a laptop. I just have an iPad. But at home, I have an iMac that I work on. So, which is a newer computer, and that's the reason I can work from home. Because before that, I was working in the studio, and everyone else started working from home. And I was like, well, I better get a new computer. So I did, and I've been working at home ever since.
It's great though. Working from home at first, it seems a little intrusive to your home life, but then you kind of get used to it, so it's not as bad as you think.
I like it, especially not having to deal with traffic and stuff. The thing that I don't like about it is I tend to get very homebody and not get out and get any exercise or anything. Which when I was in the studio, I'd be taking daily walks and getting around, running around. So that's like the downside, getting fat.
Yeah, I call it COVID belly.
Yeah.
And it even goes into COVID fingers because you find like some of your jewelry doesn't fit the same. And you're like, ooh, how did that happen?
Right.
So, but now here's a question for you. I just thought of this. Now you do the film work. Have you ever done any stage work, any live stage work?
Not in a really long time. I did in high school. I was in all the plays in high school. There's a stage version of Toxic Avenger. It's a musical, and it's really good. I went and saw it in LA, and I think it's better than the movie.
And I don't know how you can be better than that #1 movie. That's a great movie.
It's really fun, and of course, when I was there with a gang of friends, they knew I was coming. The people running the play knew I was coming, and they kind of played to me the whole night. So it was fun.
Should have got you up on stage to show them how it was done,
Well, they brought me up after for the bowing. What do you call that? The curtain call.
The curtain call at the end, yeah. But that's cool. Yeah, I never got to see that either. I would have liked to have seen it, but I did not. It gets me though when I go back and watch the original. There's so much of it that is early '80s in that movie, and you go back now and you look and you go. I hate to say it because we're of that time, and then you go back and you look at it and you go, oh my God, we did dress and do that stuff, and you go,
Yeah,
oh, right.
you couldn't make that movie this now. It's just too outrageous and politically incorrect.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so
But
it'll be interesting to see what Hollywood does with it.
it will be interesting, and I hope big production is good. Like I said, I hope it revitalizes a lot of stuff and a lot of interest. I'm sure, hopefully, the interest will help Trauma Films too. I mean, Trauma Films makes a lot of great movies. You just got to enjoy. I mean, I know lots of people in lots of different walks of life that you mentioned, like Toxic Avenger or what is it, Sergeant Kabuki.
Sergeant Kabuki Man, yeah.
And you're surprised at how many people are Nukem High, and like, oh yeah, and
Oh yeah.
it's and when I got involved with Toxic Tutu, it was funny with me because I saw, I think it was a Kickstarter start or GoFundMe or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I remember that movie. It's like, boy, I'd like to be part of that project. It's like it's one of those movies you watch years ago and you go, well, that was a great fun movie. And in my eyes, man, got to get involved in that. And I don't, in my mind, I don't see how I didn't see how it could be a fail in any way. But of course, Joe had a great vision of it. And, of course, you in it. And the whole idea wouldn't have been the same. But I didn't see how that could fail. And I think it turned out to be a great movie. And of course, for those people that don't know, you can watch it on Amazon Prime, Toxic Tutu. And
Yeah, it's on Apple TV. It's on Google. You can, if you just Google it, you'll find it in a bunch of places. You could also order a DVD if you want, and
but yeah,
that's
but
on Amazon or from the distributor. So
it's great. And what is the distributor? Maybe you can tell people what the distributor is, and they could go to their website if they wanted to, or look for it on Amazon.
it's chemicalburn.org. Chemicalburn.org, and they do a lot of crazy movies. They distribute a lot of crazy stuff. So if you go there, you will find it.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about how that started? I remember you got called out to do a Mad Monster horror fest or conference or whatever you'd want to talk it, and you hadn't been out in years, and there was a bigger interest for you than you thought there would be.
I had never done a convention before, and this guy Eben McGarr from Mad Monster Party, they do a convention in North Carolina every year, and he called me on my home phone, which I usually don't even answer, but the caller ID said Mad Monster, and I was like, that seems interesting. So I picked up, and he was like, "Is this Mark Torgl?" And I was like, "Yeah, who's calling?" And he was like, "Oh my God, I run a monster convention in North Carolina, the Mad Monster Party, and you have fans that want to meet you, and you can make money. We'll fly you out there. We'll put you up, and it's like a big party." And he talked me into it, and then I talked my film school buddy Joe Nardelli into coming along with me, and we started filming scenes at the convention. And these conventions became the backdrop for Toxic Tutu, and we continued to do it. The movie took 5 years to make, and it's finally out there, which is what I really am happy about, that it's available. Joe died, so he never got to see the success of it, but I'm just happy that it's out there.
Yeah, Joe was great. It was great getting to know Joe, and I know he had hopes for making a sequel. And I think you said once before somebody else might be looking into making that happen, or not. What was it that you told me about that?
It's possible. There are other producers that are interested in doing it. We'll see. It's not anything in the works right now, but I just recently acquired all the footage that we shot. Joe had it hidden like in the baseboard of his bed because he didn't want anyone to know where it was. And I could almost do another movie just on that. Maybe more of just a documentary, which I wouldn't mind doing.
Just
So we'll see.
the whole fact that you got the footage and it was hidden in his bed sounds like a whole story we might not want to know. I might want to watch the video of that too, but I might not want to know.
He always, when he was dying, he always said he was going to take the footage with him to the grave. But then his son found it in the baseboard of his bed. So I've got it, and haven't had a chance to really go through it because it's quite extensive. It's 5 years of footage. But when I have some free time, I plan to do that.
I fully realize that you're probably secretly telling me this, so I have to start payments to you. So I'm selling that footage is not released, right? I'll get the check started tomorrow, so you don't release some of that footage with me on it. Okay, tomorrow the check is coming. No.
The stuff with you, it would be hard not to include that. Even though, the cameras did follow you into the bathroom and into the stall, and I think you knew it, but it's all on.
No,
on
I
tape,
normally do those odd things, and we won't mention the other people that were in there with me or any of that. So, no, we don't need to know that.
No. I think Lloyd was in there with you.
That was only once. No, that was never. Although I have been to lunch with Lloyd, we didn't go to the bathroom afterwards. Well, not together anyhow, maybe separately. But yeah, so it is always great talking with you, Mark, and I'm glad projects are working out. And we haven't seen each other in person for a couple of years. A couple of years ago, we had lunch, and that was nice. We were right there. I guess that was by where they filmed one of the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah, in Century City, there's that famous pedestrian bridge that they used, and I think it was in the first one, but I'm not positive about that. Yeah, that's where I work too. So
that was a little piece of movie trivia along with that.
Yeah.
So, well, I tell you, I'll let you go, Mark. What things might you want to plug, or what websites might you want to plug before we leave? Anything you got?
You can check out what I'm doing on Facebook, Mark Torgl. Also, Melvin Ferd on Facebook, toxic22.com. I usually keep the Facebook more up to date than anything else. I have a Twitter account, but I don't do much on it.
Well, I hope maybe we can get together and work on another project again these days. Maybe we can work on something with James Balsamo again, both of us together. That'd be fun. Maybe they can throw up and do bodily excretions on both of us together in a movie.
James makes about 50 movies a year, and I'm not kidding. So it's just incredible the amount of product he puts out there. So it's very likely that could happen.
That would be fun. Well, all right, Guy, I wish you luck on everything. I know we will stay in touch, and hopefully that new movie will be made, the new high expensive Toxic Avenger. And if that does, we will have to have another conversation about that. So
absolutely.
We will talk soon. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thanks, John.